Welcome to Align Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. My question for you today is, how boldly do you move forward when you meet resistance? I was confronted yet again by people who love Jesus, who believe that yoga is evil. I know differently. I know that God called me very powerfully into this ministry. I wrestled with it for about 3 years, with that call for about 3 years, while I looked at all of the implications and all of the ways that yoga can draw us away from God. I have seen over the past 12 years the way that God can redeem yoga and can draw his people near to him when we focus fully on him, body, mind, and soul. Daniel warned us of all of the false prophets of the ages who would draw us away from our call. But he also says this. He says, the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. The people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. From the devotion book, Come Away, My Beloved, written as if from God to us. The author says this: I can accomplish great things through even one yielded, believing vessel. Remember David and how I wrought a great victory for the armies of Israel through his courage when all others were paralyzed by fear. Move on and never entertain the thought of retreat. Others may actually be going forward on the very path that would be for you a retreat. They are not responsible to give me the kind of service I ask of you. Keep your eyes on me as I have counseled you so many times before. I have special expeditionary forces, and what if I have called you to join those ranks? Do not look for the company of many others. Much of the way you shall go entirely alone, except for my presence. I invite you into this practice today, fully focused on Jesus, body, mind, and soul, inviting him to reveal to you your path and to give you the courage to boldly follow it. I invite you to come to a comfortable seated position, maybe elevating your hips up on a blanket or a block. Find your sitting bones. Crossing your legs either comfortably in front of you, crossed, or bringing them behind you. If they're behind you, bringing those heels out just a little bit. From here, begin to find strength, connecting across the transversus abdominals, hip to hip, drawing the belly button in and up, softening the rib cage, knitting the ribs together, drawing them down and back, opening up across the chest. If you're comfortable with it, close your eyes. Begin to let go of the room around you, drawing your attention to the mat, to your body, to your breath. Begin to deepen your breath, inhaling all of the way down to the pelvic floor, finding that scoop in the hips as you exhale up. Can you create a little more space with that breath? Breathing a little bit more three-dimensionally. Finding length in the spine as you grow taller. Opening up wide with the ribs. Maybe you can feel the breath moving into the back of the body. Let the hands come down to your side, and on the next inhale, draw arms up and overhead, palms together, and exhale as those hands come down. And as the arms rise and fall, can you lead with your breath? So pace with your breath. Begin that lift with the inhale. Begin the descent with the exhale. Begin to add movement of the head, drawing the gaze up as the arms rise, bowing your head as the arms come back to the mat. Back and forth here, beginning to use the muscles underneath the arms to lift and lower. So can you use the serratus muscle to really push those arms up, to pull those arms down? Pressing into the right hand, bring that left arm up and over, reaching to the side. How does that stretch along the side of the body feel today? Go the other direction. Back and forth here. So 2 more times here. Are you still leading with your breath? Can you lift up and over with the muscles of the internal obliques at the waist? As you're ready, meet me at center, arms wide, exhaling, find cat, rounding the back. And inhaling, find cow, the palms pressing back, heart rising towards the sky. And 3 more times here, each direction, cat to cow. What is the rhythm of your breath? Are you open to all that God is calling you into in this season? As you're ready, let the hands come down. Come off the block or prop if you're on one. Go ahead and bring any props that you have towards the front of the mat. Invite you to take your right leg out to the side. Begin to engage the muscles of that leg, pushing the heel out. It might work better for you to bend the leg slightly. And then hinging at the hip, come forward and back. Just back and forth here. Still moving with breath. How does the back feel? How does the leg feel? How do the hips feel? Settle into your hamstring stretch. So if you're not flexible, it might look more like this. You're very flexible. Maybe you can come all the way down and maybe even cross those wrists as you hold on to the foot. What is your best stretch here? Gently press into the hands and come up. Bring that leg behind you if that works for you. Begin to press down and up on this front leg, right at the thigh, center of the thigh, just pressing towards the mat. And as you're ready, bring the body over this leg. And perhaps you're using a block or a prop to support your forehead. Maybe you come all the way down to the mat. And again, what's best for you. Can you activate the muscles of the legs even here, flexing the feet? Imagining that knee pulling forward as that hip crease draws back. Pressing through your hands, rise up. Bring this outside leg, this back leg across, finding a twist. Raise the arms up, exhaling, use those abdominal muscles to bring the body around towards the back. Float that back arm down towards the center, and then bring the front arm across or underneath. Where is the stretch for you here? Maybe it's across the upper back and in the shoulder blades. Maybe it's in the lower back and maybe it's in the hips. Exhaling, release. Let the legs come out to the side. Invite you to bounce the knees a little bit, windshield wiper the feet, walk the body forward. Consider turning the toes slightly towards the outside here. And find your breath. On the next inhale, press into the hands and rise up. Stretching this other leg, turn towards the leg again, activating it, flexing the foot. Exhale forward, inhale back. What's best for you here? And 2 more times. As you're ready, find your stretch on this side. So explore it. Maybe this knee is bent, activating the muscles of the leg so the leg stays strong, maybe crossing the wrists and holding onto the foot. What is the stretch on this side for you? And how can you make it better? Explore it a little bit. As you're ready, press into your feet, gently press into your hands and rise up. Let that front leg come to the back. Hands pressed one on top of the other. Maybe the opposite hand is on front this time, pressing down and up. So again, just pressing right at the center of the thigh there. And then as you're ready, drawing the body over the leg and towards the front. Support your head with your arms or your blocks. Maybe massage out the forehead a little bit. Can you lengthen through the spine? On the next inhale, press up, rising high. Go ahead and bring those legs forward, crossing the legs. Come forward into table. Whoops, come on back. Let's find that twist. So you're going to bring this leg that you just stretched, the hamstring stretch, that leg is going to come across this other knee. Take a nice deep breath in as the arms rise. Exhale, draw the belly in, find the twist. Back arm comes down to the mat, maybe pressing through the fingertips a little bit to find more length in the spine. And then bring this other arm across. So again, making the twist right for you. And where is it on this side that you feel the effects of the stretch? Can you engage the abdominals a little bit more? Now come center. And crossing the ankles, come forward into table. So continuing to warm up, let the eyes of the elbows draw in as the shoulders come back. Smack through the tops of the feet, pressing in through the tops of the feet. So as you activate the hands and the feet and the abdominals, begin to find cat and cow. Exhaling into cat. Inhaling into cow. Back and forth here. How does the back respond? Do you notice anything in the hands or the wrists, the ankles or the feet? How might you want to modify throughout your practice today? One more time, cat. One more time, cow. Are you still moving with your breath? Meeting me back in table, bring your hands, one handprint forward, find a kneeling plank, and from here, come down to the mat. Forearms to the mat, rise into your Sphinx pose, and come in and out of Sphinx. And begin to activate the work in the middle back, the rhomboids and the lats. Next time you come into Sphinx, stay here. Pressing the forearms down, imagine the elbows drawing in towards the hips drawing forward. How open is your chest? And the shoulders get heavy and relaxed. Exhaling, come down, hands to rib cage, draw back to through table, and find the first downward facing dog. So go ahead and curl the toes underneath. Bring the rib cage towards the thighs. Shake your head out no and yes. Begin to pedal through your feet. Again, checking on those feet and ankles, noticing what's going on in the calf muscles, the hamstrings. Deep breath in, heels rise. Exhaling, heels come down towards the mat. Stay in downward dog for 3 breaths. Find the rhythm of breath and notice what the pose is telling you. What's going on in your body? I invite you to come into full plank. Stay here and begin to find the strength of this pose. Remembering when you were seated, how you anchored through those abdominals across the hips, the belly in, the rib cage soft, shoulders pressing down towards hips. And as you're ready, come down to the mat again, maybe this time through 8-point pose. Find your back bend, maybe it's low cobra, maybe you're still in Sphinx. And as you're ready, draw back to downward facing dog. And the next inhale, the right leg rises high. Gaze comes forward as the foot comes all the way through the hands. Hands on either side of the foot, and maybe if you have shorter arms, a block is helpful. The back knee comes down and up. So back and forth here a few times, noticing the effects of the stretch, what's going on in the psoas, the front of the hip on that left side. Gently raise that leg up. Begin to straighten and bend the front leg, finding a hamstring stretch, making any adjustments that you need to make. Just noticing how straight does that leg go today. Finding the edge, tension but no struggle. Settle into the hamstring stretch, drawing the belly in, softening the body over the leg. And as you shake the head out a little bit, can the back of the head reach towards the mat? As you're ready, go ahead and lunge that front leg forward. Move any props to the side. Press into the inside hand, that left hand. Begin to use those abdominals to twist the body to reach high. And stay here, that back thigh reaching towards the sky, this front knee right over the ankle. Notice that as you engage through the abdominals, you don't need as much weight on that bottom hand. Exhaling, unwind, front foot floats to the back, meet me in plank, and choose your way down to the mat and choose your back bend. And on that next exhale, move into downward facing dog. Stay here for 3 breaths. Check in and notice. How did that stretch sequence shift and change the body, the focus, the mind? Maybe there was even spiritual revelation there from God. On the next inhale, the left leg comes up. Drawing the gaze forward, float the foot between the hands. Again, gently drop that back knee down and up. Again, using blocks if that's better for you. Notice that even here, engaging the abdominals, finding this core strength, it shifts the pose, it shifts the work away from the wrists and the arms. As you're ready, extend the back leg, find the stretch here, and then begin to straighten and bend the front leg. Can you float the hands a little bit? On the next exhale, find the hamstring stretch on this side. Let the body relax. Shake the head out. What do you notice? As you're ready, go ahead and bring the front knee over your ankle, bring the front foot to the back, meet me in plank. From plank, come down to the mat, however you choose to do that. Maybe now you're in chaturanga and upward facing dog. And find your way back to downward dog. Settle into it. Stay here for 3 breaths. How good are you at holding course? On the next inhale, the right leg rises, drawing the gaze forward. Bring the foot all the way through and rise into your lunge. Find your lunge, hands to thighs. Gently bring the muscles of the thigh towards the knee, the shoulders a little bit back. Extend through that back leg. And then keeping the strong core support, raise the arms up and find your twist. Let the back arm come down, reach that top arm, that opposite arm of the front leg overhead and towards that back foot. Maybe you can find some stretch up and down the left side of the body. As you're ready, release. Bring the arms all the way up and coming into cactus, begin to find a back bend. Open to everything that God is inviting you into. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhale, hands to either side of the foot. Back foot floats to the front. Dropping the hips, rise into chair pose. Anchor into chair, and to find this first chair, go ahead and take hands to hips and just gently draw the hips towards the mat. So just maybe 2 fingers right in the glutes there, just encouraging them to drop a bit. Hands to the belly, draw the belly in, rib cage down, arms rise. And then come all the way up into mountain pose, hands to heart. Breathing in, arms rise. Exhaling, forward fold. Breathing in, hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, forward fold. Legs come back, meet me in plank. Find a strong plank. Stay here. Gently draw the knees down to about 2 inches from the mat. Bring them back up. Take one knee down, bring it up, then the other. Bring it up. Find your way down to the mat and into your back bend. Exhaling, meet me in downward dog. Stay here. Find your breath. Hold your ground. On the next inhale, the left leg rises high. Gaze comes forward as the foot floats through. Rise into your lunge and find your balance. Exhaling, bring hands to thigh. Again, just gently bring the muscles of the leg towards you a little bit. Engaging through that back leg, draw the thigh up towards the sky with just a micro bend in the knee. Begin to engage the muscles of the abdominals, arms rise. Let the shoulders relax as you twist. Back arm drops, front arm stays where it is, and then reaches a little bit further back. Find your stretch. One more breath here. As you're ready, release. Bring the arms up. Cactus arms, find your back bend. Inhaling, arms rise. Hands come down towards the foot. Back foot comes up to the front. Meet me in mountain. Sink. Sink the hips. Find chair pose as the body rises. Pressing through the heels. Rise up into mountain. Exhale, hands to heart, and I invite you to stay here in mountain for 3 breaths. Root, ground, and breathe. Hold strong. Notice your breath, the breath of God moving through you. The Holy Spirit. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling, forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway. Come back into that fold. Meet me in plank. From plank, come down to the mat. Find your back bend. And come back to downward facing dog. So here in downward dog, we'll just stay for 2 breaths this time. How have things changed since you started today? Go ahead and take that right leg all the way up, gaze forward, foot comes all the way through, rise into your lunge and pivot into your warrior 2. So bring that back foot parallel to the back edge of the mat, that front toes reaching towards the front edge of the mat. Begin to open up the hips to the wide edge of the mat. Shoulders heavy and relaxed. Feel the strength in the pose. Let the upper body twist forward as the arms reach forward. Bow and arrow as this left arm reaches back, comes forward, all the way out again. Square to the wide edge of the mat. 2 more times. Body comes towards the front edge of the mat. Legs and hips stay in place. Elbow pulls back. Come all the way out. One more time. Bring the arm forward, all the way out. Back arm drops. Meet me in peaceful warrior. Stay there as the arm comes all the way up. The back arm comes up. And just find the strength in the pose. Let that arm drop. Find your side angle bend as that back arm reaches forward. Again, can you open up the body to the side of the mat? And maybe you stay here, or maybe today this bottom arm reaches as well. Reaching towards the front as the outside edge of that back foot draws that back edge of the mat away from you. Come back into peaceful warrior. Pivot into the lunge. Hands to either side of the foot. Front foot comes to the back. Meet me in plank. From plank, slowly come all the way down to the mat. Take the legs wide as the hands come down to the hips, thumbs facing down and palms facing in. Bring the upper body up and exhale down. Can you find the work in the lower back as well as the middle of the back here? One more time, rising up. Exhaling, release. Go ahead and stack your forearms one on top of the other. Turn your cheek towards one side, and then turn your cheek the other direction, and wiggle the hips. Hands come near the rib cage. Elbows draw towards each other. Come through table, meeting me in downward dog. I'm just noticing, does one side of the body feel different than the other? Left leg rises high. Gaze forward. Foot comes all the way through. Rise up. Pivot into your warrior two. So again, the back edge of the foot parallel to the outside edge of the mat. Shoulders heavy, reaching the fingers out. That front knee right over the ankle there. Stay here for another breath. Begin to rotate the body, reaching towards the front. Bow and arrow as that right arm pulls back. Rotate the body again, and then come to the wide edge of the mat. So you're using your abdominals here to do the work. And are you still connected to your breath? Can you make the movement strong? Gently drop the back arm, bring the front arm over, peaceful warrior. And then if you want more, that bottom arm rises up. Stay here for 2 breaths. Come over into the side angle bend, reaching, stretching, opening up. Stay here. And if you want a little more, extend that bottom arm out. And can you open up the body towards the side of the mat? As you're ready, come back into the peaceful warrior. And cartwheel your way forward. And bring the back foot up to the front to meet me in forward fold. And shake your head out no, and yes. And hands to shins, rise up halfway, and exhaling, come down. And take a deep breath in, meeting me in mountain. Arms rise, palms together, exhaling, hands to heart. Stay here for 3 breaths. What do you notice? Root, ground, and breathe. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise, exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway, exhaling, come down to the mat, meet me in plank, stay in plank. And again, from plank, maybe the knees drop towards the mat, not all the way down. Find them work in the abdominals. And maybe they rise, then maybe one knee comes down, and then the other. Go ahead and come into a strong chaturanga or knees down to the mat, kneeling plank. Find your back bend. And exhale your way to downward dog. How does downward facing dog feel? Can you adjust so that the feet are hip width apart? Arms, maybe wrists directly in front of the shoulders, or maybe the arms are a little bit wide. Maybe the fingers are rotated towards the front corners of the mat, if that feels better for you. So moving through that flow a little bit more quickly. Right leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through, rise into your lunge. Sink into the lunge, bring the arms out to the side, pivot into your twist as you drop the back arm and lift the front. Come back up with the arms, meet me as you open up, chest to sky, cactus arms. Sorry about that cueing there. Deep breath in, arms rise, pivot to warrior two. Go ahead and find warrior two. Come into that peaceful warrior, bring the arm up. Come over into the side angle bend. Maybe that lower arm rises here as well. Come back into peaceful warrior. Pivot into lunge. I invite you to find a twist here, maybe hand to heart, hinging forward at the hips. Maybe it's a high twist. Anchoring through the abdominals. Exhale, hands come down to either side of the foot. Back foot comes up to meet the front. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, sink the hips. Meet me in chair pose. Stay in chair pose for a breath. On the next inhale, rise to mountain, palms together. Exhaling, hands to heart. Stay here for 2 breaths, noticing the effects of that sequence on the body, on the mind, on the soul. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling, forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway, and exhaling, come down, meet me in plank. From plank, find your way down to the mat and into your back bend. Curling the toes under, meet me in downward facing dog. Take one more deep breath here. On the next inhale, raise that left leg up to the sky, drawing the gaze forward, float the foot through the hands. Find your focal point and rise into lunge. Bringing the arms to the side, exhale and turn towards the inside of that front leg, dropping the back arm, lifting the front. Sweep that back arm up, facing front. Go ahead and bring those hands into cactus, opening up across the chest as you find your back bend. Inhaling, arms rise, pivot into warrior 2. Find your warrior 2 stance. Open up to the wide edge of the mat. Let the shoulders soften and relax. Dropping the back arm, front arm rises, peaceful warrior. You can stay here. The option is to raise that bottom arm. Find the strength in the core muscles as you hold it. And then sweep up and over and reach into that side angle bend. Maybe the bottom arm extends as well, stacking shoulder over shoulder. Where is your gaze? How even and deep is your breath? Come back into peaceful warrior and pivot into lunge. Hands to heart. High twist or low. If you're with me in the low, you're going to hinge forward at that hip and wrap the outside of the arm across the leg. One more breath here. Exhaling, hands come to either side of the foot. Back foot comes forward, sinking the hips. Find that final chair pose. And rise into mountain, hands to heart. Take 3 breaths here and check in. How does the body feel? What do you notice, body, mind, and soul? Can you connect the feet firmly to the earth? Ready to stand firm and take action. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway, exhale into that final forward fold. Stay there for a breath. And as you're ready, bring your feet back into plank, and from plank, come all the way down to the mat. Go ahead and make a circle with your thumb and first finger, bringing that circle underneath the hip points. Take the legs out just a little bit wider than hip width apart. So 4 times, lifting up either one leg and then the other, or both legs. From the lower back, contract and let that leg float up and release. Other side if you're one at a time. Both legs if you're doing it together. And twice more, either alternating or both legs rise. And exhale down one more time. Legs rising, working through the muscles of the lower back. Exhaling, release, hands to rib cage, draw up through table. Stay in table for 2 breaths. Let the back return to neutral. Notice the feel of the hands and the feet on the mat. Gently draw back child to table twice, exhaling your way into this first child's pose of the practice. How does that feel? And back up to table, and one more time, child to table. Come back into child, staying there. And adjust the legs, wider or narrower. Be intentional about where your arms are as we settle here. Are the arms forward in front of you? Are they behind you? Are the palms up or down? How full is your breath? Take 3 more breaths here. Can you relax the muscles of your face, your jaw? Gently bring the hands in front of you, palms down, and work your way up to a sitting position, bringing the feet wide on the mat. Hands behind you, lightly bring the knees down with the lower body twist side to side as one knee comes to the center of the mat and then the other. Just letting go of any tension remaining in the lower back. Meet me at center, hands to shins. Find cat and cow here, exhaling into cat. Inhaling as the heart rises and opens, cow. Once more, cat to cow. Come down onto the mat, bringing a block with you if you have one. And bring the block in between your legs. So let's bring it just below the ankles. Flex the feet. Legs are strong. Hands are resting lightly at the hips. Lower body crunch. So just begin to draw the navel into the spine as the hips rise and release. So can you start this from the center and work out? So rather than lifting from the feet, can you lift from the abdominals? 6 times total, 3 more times here. And then come up one more time. Stay there, bring the palms up, arms about midway through across your thighs, and lift from here. And settle here and stay here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower the lower body, the upper body, and bring the feet to the mat. Stay here for a moment, noticing the response of the back. And then bring the block underneath the back, so above the tailbone and below the spine. And allow the body to get heavy over that block. Can you soften the abdominals now? Soften the muscles of the chest. Feel the weight coming out of the heels and the shoulder blades and drawing into the block. How expansively can you breathe? As you're ready, press into your heels, lift up just enough that you can slide that block out of the way, bringing the back to the mat, and take one full breath here, allowing the back to settle and noticing what you notice. Bring hands to knees, knees and feet together. Gently draw the knees into the rib cage and away, back and forth here. One more time. And as you're ready, extend the legs long, arms down at your side, palms up. So check in here, and if it feels right, go ahead and windshield wiper your feet and bounce your knees and wiggle your hips a little bit. And realigning the upper body, go ahead and bring those hands all the way up towards the ceiling. Let the shoulders rise, and on that next exhale, let the shoulders thump down to the mat. 2 more times here. Let the hands come down to the sides. Maybe turn the head from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. As you're ready, settle at center and find Shavasana. And as you settle into Shavasana tonight, what battles are you facing? How is the Holy Spirit moving in that? How has He equipped you, or is He equipping you? What do you need to stand firm and take action so that you can stay firmly on the path that the Lord has set for you? Breathe that in with your prayer. I invite you to stay here a little longer if you can. Otherwise, gently begin to bring movement back. Wiggling fingers and toes, rotating wrists and ankles, turning your head side to side. On that next inhale, bring arms overhead and stretch and reach as long as you can, fingers to one wall, toes to the other. And gently draw the knees in and roll over onto your side, supporting your head on one arm. Settling here, find breath. And that next inhale, press into your hands and rise up, crossing legs comfortably in front of you. Eyes still closed if you're comfortable with that. And finding your sitting bones, check in one final time, body, mind, and soul. What has changed? What has stayed the same? Acknowledging it as it is. And the next inhale, arms rise high, palms together, and exhaling, hands to heart, joining me in prayer. Holy and mighty God, we are thankful for the call that you have placed on our lives. We are thankful for the many ways that you equip us and for the courage that you give us. We thank you for the example of Jesus who went to the cross for the joy set before him, persevering, standing strong, taking action. Lord, give us the courage to do the same, that all may know the love that you have for them. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ that we pray. Amen. Thank you for practicing with me today.